Hello, good afternoon, team, and good afternoon for anyone who is listening. Good afternoon, Michael, Piero, Shaq. How are you guys doing?
All good, thanks.
Very good, thank you.
Good, fantastic. And for all of the audience listening, thanks for joining the webinar today. Purposes today, we're going to be going through some details on Allegro. Really exciting opportunity. We got some really good content that we're going to be going through. And essentially trying to get everyone excited for the opportunity of expanding via Allegro. So we're going to give it a couple of minutes before we actually start. So yeah, we'll just give it a couple of minutes. If anyone can message in the chat box, just to make sure you can hear us. Just want to hear from anyone who is listening. And guys, thanks for joining. Very much looking forward to the presentation today and looking forward to the opportunity the Allegro platform presents.
Well, we're looking forward to it too. Hopefully it won't be death by PowerPoint today. I know there are a lot of slides to go through. But...
Yeah, that's all good information though. That's the good thing. Yeah, perfect. We'll just leave it another minute or so, allow for everyone to join. For anyone that is listening in as well, we will be sharing the recording post webinar. So if you do miss bits or you miss certain areas because you gone to get a coffee, a cup of tea, something like that, you will be able to go back through the recording, look through the details, and hear it all again. Cool. Shaq, did you want to bring up the presentation and we can get started?
Indeed.
Brilliant.
All right, it's loading. All right, so hey everybody. So my name is Shaquille or Shaq. I'm a business sourcing partner at Allegro, and I've been over here or at the company for about four and a half years now. So seen it grow and change in that time. Of course, pandemic increased the way marketplaces operate quite a bit. So I'm going to tell you a bit about Allegro, and then Mihao, who's on the call as well, will talk about our fulfillment service as well in terms of what we offer. So in case you were not aware, e-commerce in Poland is actually huge. The current value is at about 20 billion euro when we talk about the value of the Polish e-commerce market. Now, interestingly enough, 79% of the population actually shop online, and 75% of Polish online buyers prefer to use Polish websites. So these are some things to keep in mind if you want to go into cross-border in Poland and into the Central Eastern European region as well. So what I can tell you a bit, looks like the slide got cut a bit, but we started our history in 1999 out of a garage in Poznan, and since then have been growing. In 2022, we merged with the Mall Group, and since then we've started our international expansion, which means that last year we launched the Allegro.cz platform, so we're localized and live in Czechia. I'll talk a bit about that in a bit. In addition to that, we'll be adding new markets. So for example, Slovakia, Hungary, Slovenia, and Croatia as well in the coming years. Slovakia is actually going to be sooner rather than later. So if you remember the 20 billion I was talking about, I mean, what you see here is what Allegro did in the first 9 months in 2023. So our GMV was approximately 8 billion euros, so almost half of the total value of the e-commerce market in Poland. This also shows that we've had significant growth year on year. In 2022, we did about 10.5 billion euro, and that was 16% growth. And in the first 3 quarters, we did 13.1% year-on-year growth. So it just shows you the opportunity available to you by selling on Allegro. Now, when we talk about the active buyers, so within across the region, we have 18.9 million active buyers. So that's quite a large population. It's let's say the unofficial or the official population of, for example, Istanbul as a city. So you could sell to that entire population just by being on Allegro. In addition to that, what's important to note here is this 87% in terms of spontaneous brand recognition, which actually shows up in the next slide over here. So when we talk about brand recognition in Poland, Allegro has 87% brand recognition, and you can see the numbers further down the slide where it's 20%, 15%, and 15% for Zalando, Amazon, and AliExpress. So really, we are a local hero, and this is why Allegro is the important place to sell. The other platform here, OLX, is actually more of a C2C platform, but as they are a recognizable brand in Poland, they're listed here as well. Now, our international expansion and delivery, I touched on this a bit earlier, but in addition to what we have as the Central Eastern European region here with that orange fine line borders over there, we also have the platform available to consumers across the EU. The difference here is that in, for example, Germany or France, the platform's not localized. It's available in English, Polish, Czech, Slovak, and Ukrainian at the moment. So if anyone was shopping in those regions, they would have to use the languages available. Now, a bit about the Czech market. So since our launch in July 2023, our brand recognition is already at about 90% as Allegro. In addition to that, within that period, we have about 7,000 to 8,000 Czech users visiting the platform every day, and currently have over 500,000 active buyers since we launched in Czechia. Now, our top categories as far as what we consider international sellers. So our international sellers are those who are not domestic, so not Polish-based, but could be from Europe, could be from Asia, could be from North America. And these are the categories where they have performed the best in 2022. So consumer electronics, home and garden, sports and leisure, automotive, and fashion were the top categories in terms of GMV generated on the platform. And in terms of the number of items sold, you can see there's a slight difference in the order, but pretty much similar categories as well. Now, we'll talk a bit about how to succeed on Allegro. One of the first things to note is that we're an open marketplace, so you can register with your tax ID from any country in the world. There are no registration fees to create an account, so it's completely free to join. Other than that, we actually charge commission fees within the various categories in terms of the sales, and this varies between, on average, 5 to 19%. Obviously, in some categories, it's a little lower, and others could be higher. The other thing that we have available for new sellers is a welcome program. The welcome program is full of benefits, and you can actually benefit or save up to 5,000 euros. Within this, you have access to our professional Allegro analytics subscription. You get to use some of our promotional tools like the package of feature options. You have 100 in there, and you can get up to 100% sales commission rebate or refund within the first 90 days of being online. Now, other than that, what's important to note in terms of our analytical tool, so of course, like many analytical tools on marketplaces, we look at you can adjust your assortment, monitor your sales, and set the pricing. But what's different about ours is you can also see how potential competitors are performing on the platform. So you can actually adjust your assortment or tactics in real time by using these tools. Now, the other thing here, in terms of to get the best out of your account and to sell well, obviously having well-formatted content in Polish is a no-brainer, but you could also upload offers or descriptions in English, and it will automatically translate into Polish and Czech and Slovak as languages that we have on the platform. The other thing that is hugely important is customer service. So we recommend that you respond to any customer queries within 24 hours and taking part in promotions, advertising, and campaigns. We have several campaigns that run throughout the year, and these are great ways to create visibility and push your products further. In terms of advertising, we have different options here. There are pay-per-click options. There's also creating banners and going through affiliate media as well. So, and the most important thing here, which I'm sure Piero and Michał will touch on, is fast and convenient logistics or delivery to consumers. Now,
can I ask a quick question, Shaq?
Yeah.
On this slide, going back, talking about the translations. Obviously, you mentioned English. Obviously, you could upload in English and it will translate it to Polish.
Right.
Like, what's the kind of hit rate with Allegro in terms of kind of how accurate that translations are? I know, like we've seen on other marketplaces, when people are launching internationally, kind of languages outside of English, the automatic translations are not the best.
Not great.
So what's Allegro like? Would you recommend kind of going to a translation expert or a company to support, or are you confident in Allegro's translation capabilities?
So I think it really is based on your own strategy, obviously. My personal opinion is always go for native translations. But this is definitely an easy, cost-effective way to get started, right? The other thing that you can note is that through an API connection, or if you submit your EN code or SKU, it'll pull up pre-existing descriptions through our product database. So it might not necessarily be an automatic translation, but something that has already been in our product database. So you could have a, let's say, native translation, or not even translation, but description already pre-prepared in the back end of Allegro.
Okay, so essentially there's options if kind of limited resources and maybe investments limited, so you know you don't want to pay for an outsourced company, but if you can, ideally that would be the route to go down.
Sure. I mean, any brand that sells on any platform, they want to control their content, right? And they want to have the best content available to any buyer to see and understand what the product is, right? So that would be why you would go with native translations as opposed to automatic translations. But to be honest, automatic translations also work. We see a lot of sellers on the platform selling with automated translations. So, it's just a matter of strategy. So we talk about sales quality. These are important factors overall. Your seller rating drops or increases based on your response time, on how quickly you dispatch your orders, and how you deal with customer service. And these are updated daily, so you can actually see how you're faring. This also has an impact on being part of other programs that we have on the platform. So one of which will be Smart, but I'll touch that in a sec. And this is just a brief idea of what the difference is in terms of delivery time statistics, right? So you can see in terms of electronics, if delivery is over 7 to 10 days, the conversion to sale drops to 21%, which is a huge drop if you actually look at it. That's why we always say that delivery and logistics is going to be your, let's say, break that's going on a platform as well. So I mentioned Smart. Smart is our loyalty program. We have over 5 million active or subscribers to it. And this program offers consumers free delivery, free returns. In addition to that, every single offer on the platform is marked with a Smart badge. Now, when shipping with Smart, it's only available currently for shipments dispatched from Germany, France, Netherlands, Czechia or Czech Republic, and Poland. This is why we would actually talk to you about one fulfillment, which Michał will touch on in a second. Another bit to note here is that Smart offers are 2.5 times more popular, and you can actually grow your business 5 times faster by having the Smart badge on your offers. So in terms of support, we have various support teams. So onboarding support, we also have key account managers. There are a ton of educational resources from Allegro Academy where you can join live webinars or take on courses on your own, or you can read through articles in the Help Center. And we have the service provider network where, for example, tax advisory, AVASK is listed, but if you need integration partners, they're also there. Even third-party logistics are listed there too. So those are all covered in that aspect. And now it's over to Michał.
Yeah, as Chuck mentioned, delivery time is super important for our buyers, especially in Poland. So as you can see, orders will be delivered to your customers even the same or the next day. This is possible because we work with different delivery companies and we ship orders late into the evening. Orders placed by 8 p.m. will already reach your customer the next day. For the 10 biggest cities in Poland, we can deliver orders the same day if buyers pay for the orders before 10:30 a.m. And the same day, also in Łódź and Warsaw area, with extended sales window even up to 2:30 p.m. As Jack mentioned, we launched the business in Czechia, so we also deliver to the Czech Republic. Delivery time in this region is estimated at 2 business days. Let's move on. Jack, can you click? Thanks. Buyers in Europe can wait even up to 3 or 5 days for the delivery of ordered products if they don't have to pay for the shipping. It's slightly different when it comes to Polish buyers. They expect free delivery and they get it thanks to the smart, as Jack mentioned, of course, and the fastest possible delivery. It's important and worth mentioning here that you can achieve a lot of in this field. I mean that thanks to the logistics service at Allegro, you can offer a unique service. I mean, only 0.5% of Polish sellers can offer same-day delivery, and only 12%, almost 13% of sellers on the Polish market deliver the next day. So most sellers arrange deliveries to the Czech Republic within 5 days. As you can see, we can do it faster. You can reach buyers as quickly as possible and give them added value to your product sold on Allegro platform. Let's move on. And so one fulfillment by Allegro means the fastest delivery on the Polish market. Next, please. And also, one fulfillment means the best customer service. Jack mentioned that it's super important to answer all queries from your buyers. So we will answer customer queries regarding delivery methods and times. Of course, about shipment, order cancellation, changing in the delivery address, issues with parcel delivery, damage in transit, and so on. You can monitor the status of your orders at all times in the panel available on your account, but the whole process is we protect. In one fulfillment by Allegro, we handle potential products returns, so we ensure professional processing of transport complaints and also international returns from your buyers. Let's move on. Jack? Oh, thanks. And we want to make it easier for sellers on our platform to sell on other available markets. As Jack mentioned, you can easily show and enable sales to the Czech Republic. Literally, soon we will open the Slovak market for you. We're planning to do this really soon. The process is super simple. What you need to do is just select offers and allow them for other markets simply by one click. Let's move on. One fulfillment by Allegro also means solid packaging. I mean, we use recycled packaging materials, secured with cardboard boxes with filling and paper tapes. Okay, and what product can we handle? Especially brand new product with one of the JTIN's numbers. It can be, of course, EN code, the most popular product with an expiry date of at least 120 days. And we can handle some of hazardous products with the exclamation mark symbol and corrosive. Maximum dimension of the product cannot be bigger than 60, 40, 32 centimeters and cannot be more weight than 70.7 kilogram. Let's move on. And I would say a few words about hazardous product. As I mentioned, we can handle products with the exclamation mark and corrosive pictograms, most often such labels you can find in the category of clean lines, in supermarket, and appear on products that we actually use every day, such as dishwasher cubes, washing liquids, and cleaning products. And if you are not sure whether you can ship your products, please contact us. We can confirm before shipment, or sometimes even allow products in our warehouse. We can even prepare special path for specific products. When it comes to batteries, one sentence here. When it comes to batteries, we accept all batteries up to 27 milliamp hours and up to 100 watt hours of power. In a nutshell, all batteries no bigger than laptops batteries are allowed here. All right, let's move on. What we do in one fulfillment, we can handle single orders, the standards one, and also combined orders. And why do we process them only in one fulfillment? Buyers see offers marked as product from the Allegro warehouse, and only such products can be shipped as combined order. Only such product we have in our warehouse actually, and we can pack them quickly and deliver. In the buyer's cart with products from the Allegro warehouse, we will display a pop-up with suggestion from other sellers under one fulfillment by Allegro. Buyer will also see other suggested products under the list of products in the cart. This is an excellent opportunity, in my opinion, to upsell your product, even to orders from other sellers. Both yours and other sellers' products can be added to the cart as a complement to the order within the same delivery. All right, let's move on. How much does it cost? So you'll be charged according to the price list. The basic fee includes storage up to 30 days, order fulfillment, packaging, and preparing for shipment, boxes, protection, and padding. Cost on your side is transport of goods and to and from the Allegro warehouse. Other costs according to the applicable Allegro fees, for example, the cost of platform use, sales commission, ads Allegro, or even other promotion. It's up to you. Okay, next please. And if you are not sure whether the service is for you, try to compare the possible costs. We estimated the warehouse rental and fixed fees for a warehouse of the same quality at nearly 90,000 zloty. However, you still don't know how many orders you will handle. At one fulfillment, you only pay when you sell goods. Remember, you always have 30 days of free storage for new deliveries, so you can be prepared and probably avoid storage fee beyond 30 days by providing a month's supply. Okay, let's go. And the warehouse service at Allegro celebrated its second birthday, so we already have some experience and knowledge. Based on internal data, we know that you will achieve even 11% better results with us than if you try to serve customers yourself. At the same time, as your sales result increase, your advantage can be even greater. Thanks to the one fulfillment service, the top 10 sellers achieved 27% more compared to the same offers on the other accounts not supported by our warehouse. So, have I convinced you? Are you interested in it? Want to know more? Just open the Allegro onefulfillment.pl and send an application, or just simply contact us by sending an email via onefulfillment@allegro.pl. And for all of you who agreed to be contacted after the webinar, I will prepare and I will send an offer via email. So from my side, thank you.
Thanks, Michał. Thanks, Shaq. I just had a question just quickly, and for anyone listening as well, feel free to put any questions into the chat box. I know there's already been some questions in there already, which we can come on to at the end. Some of them will be answered live as well. But in terms of like time scales for like setting up Allegro, if you've got anyone interested, they're selling on another marketplace, say for example, they've already got the different tax registrations, they're looking for selling on Allegro plus, using one fulfillment, what kind of a typical time frame you would say for, like, say today, if someone said, I want to go ahead today, when would they actually be selling actively?
So we'll cover this as well with some of the questions that have been asked, because one of the first things is supplying your documents to pass the AML KYC. And as there was a question about using Wise or even using other means, it's actually, you have to see what's available by or what's allowed with our payment service providers as well. So we use PayU and P24 at the moment, which means that it has to be a bank account that's linked to the actual entity or business, right? So that if that isn't there, then until that's set up, it could take longer. But on average, I think it takes about 7 to 15 days right now to create an account.
Yes, that's true.
That includes submitting the documents, going through AML KYC, and everything else.
Perfect.
Yeah. What is worth to mention here that if you decide to join Allegro by using one fulfillment service, it's necessary to obtain a Polish VAT number before the start. So it means that you need to contact your tax advisor and ask for help. And actually, we can help you. Allegro, for some sellers, I mean for sellers for some particular specific regions, can cover even cost. So we have the special path for this purpose. But remember that the process of obtaining Polish VAT number can take even between 2 and 8 weeks. So you can prepare yourself even now.
This is where AVASK will actually provide them with the Polish VAT number.
Yeah, which I'll cover in a minute. But I think first we're going to move on to Piero. Piero, over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. Great presentation. Actually, super intrigued about especially joining the Allegro. I think it's such an exciting time. From my perspective, obviously, with the help of KATA Global Logistics as a sister company to AVASK, what we do is end-to-end solutions. So we look into door-to-door solutions. So wherever the goods are made, we want to pick those goods up and deliver it all the way to one fulfillment by Allegro. So if we go into the next slide, I start speaking about maybe the one after that. They don't need to see more of my face. If we look at there's a few options that I kind of looked into for Allegro in particular, and obviously it's very different depending on where the origin of goods is and where the goods are coming from. So there are 3 to 4 different options that I kind of wanted to look at. The main 3 ones are obviously if you're looking at ocean freight. If you're bringing goods in from outside of the EU and Europe, you're probably looking at Gdansk being one of the main ports in Poland. The other one is obviously Rotterdam being one of the best ports in Europe. It is highly connected to every EU and European country. And one that actually surprises a lot of people and a lot of businesses that I speak to is actually rail, especially producers that are based in China. They always get surprised. Oh, can you actually do rail all the way from China to Europe? And yes, you can. You actually can get it all the way to the UK, which is an island, considering it goes through water as well. So it is highly surprising. But 1, it is a highly effective option. 2, it's quicker than ocean freight. And 3, it's probably one of the most sustainable freight options out there. So I actually wanted to break down the three options. If you go into the next slide. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to add that there's actually a train that stops in Łódź, right? In Poland.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I'm going to go through all the options and what I think it's. I'm probably going to lean into what's best, but I'm going to look at pros and cons for both. Okay, so Gdansk being an ocean freight option is a fantastic port. A lot of vessel providers go to Gdansk, and I'd say it gives you the opportunity to obviously directly ship into Poland. If you have the capacity to ship directly to Allegro and making Poland and Allegro one of the best marketplaces for yourselves, I'd say Gdansk is a great port to go into. It's well connected to the Central European area, considering from Poland to Czechia to any other Eastern European country as well. There's also something called Article 33A, which is something that we're currently working on with Jacob as well, which gives you the opportunity to defer the VAT in Poland. In terms of importing to Poland, there has always been a little bit of a high and low from us, really, because I'd say one main issue that we've seen with Polish VAT holders is importing into Poland can be a little bit of a problem without Article 33A, because any imports into Poland, that even if they have a Polish VAT number, reclaiming import VAT in Poland is, you cannot do it without an active Polish bank account. So a lot of businesses that we deal with, obviously, this webinar itself is targeted to non-Polish businesses. They might struggle to get that Polish bank account as well. So it's something that we are currently working on solving. So that's probably one of the main disadvantages of shipping directly into Gdansk. And obviously, with vessels and the way they come from the Far East of China or your Asia, the route to get to Gdansk tends to be longer. Obviously, it has to go all the way around the Mediterranean, around the Channel, across Denmark, and finally end in Gdansk. So normally the transit times tend to be around 5 to 10 days longer than any other European destination. And yeah, I think those are the main differences that you see. If we then look into the next slide and ship it through Rotterdam, this I would have to say is probably KATA's and my preferred option. And there's many benefits because of that. So firstly, I've almost said maybe a little bit too many times that Rotterdam is by far one of the best ports in Europe. In terms of transit times, a lot quicker. In terms of customs clearance opportunity as well with KATA Global Logistics, as we have AEO stay, we can actually clear the goods for you very, very quickly, and that's one of the main advantages of the country. It also has VAT deferral schemes in place that we can do through limited fiscal rep, which gives you the opportunity to ship through the Netherlands without paying import VAT, because that gets deferred at the end of that filing quarter. If you have any VAT questions, say Jacob's probably the man to ask. However, with KATA, what we can do is clear the goods in Rotterdam and deliver them via road or rail all the way to Allegro and not pay an import VAT, which I think is a great cash flow opportunity. And as I said, the transit times are really, really strong. As I said, instead of Gdansk, you're probably looking at 5 to 10 days earlier for goods coming from China or Far East. And in terms of getting the goods into Warsaw, we're looking at a 12-hour drive or a rail network of around 6 to 7 hours. So in terms of time, it will actually be quicker going that way. The only downside I would say that I see is just the road freight side of things. There may be human errors, right? And machines go wrong all the time. That's the only potential downside that I possibly see driving from Rotterdam all the way to Warsaw. And then one of the final options. Yeah.
Just to add on that, I think apologies for interrupting, Piero, but pitching in terms of when you're looking at these options, I guess the import VAT thing that you mentioned is really important. Ever since Brexit, sellers trying to get goods into Europe, they've had to kind of streamline solutions and look to what is going to work best. People have in cases looked to certain options. So for example, importing into a country where that's directly where the goods are going. And sometimes it's actually led to potential pitfalls in the future. So if you had to pay that and then try and reclaim it, it's you could have been bringing in a really large shipment and you've outlaid a load of cash, which you don't get back for X amount of time because of a certain process. So we've got clients who have had goods import through certain countries. They've ended up with import VAT. They're in the process of reclaiming with a certain government. They don't all work the same. Obviously, you've got the European Union importing into the single market, the free flow of moving goods, but not every single country works the same. Hence why we looked into kind of streamlined solutions in certain countries in order to benefit the clients that we work with and to optimize solutions. Because the last thing you want is having X amount of thousands stuck with a certain tax office, which you could be using as cash for new stock, for advertising, etc. So that's also really important when you're weighing up kind of costs for the different options. Yeah, sorry for interrupting, Piero. I'll go on to the next slide for you.
No, honestly, that's a great explanation, much better than what I was saying in terms of what especially with KATA Global Logistics. I'd say a lot of freight forwarders, you ask them, oh, can I ship from this place to this place? And they'll say, yes, this is the cost. Whilst for ourselves with KATA Global Logistics, we always try to find the most cost-effective and tax-effective way of shipping goods, right? And what Jacob is saying is absolutely correct. So we use Rotterdam as an opportunity to defer that VAT when importing into the EU, and we are giving options to be able to deliver to Allegro as a final mile delivery as well. And the final option that I want to look into, I think it's quite an interesting one, and something that overall has become really popular because of the Red Sea surcharges, as well as ocean freight is experienced right now because of the disruptions. So I'd say the main pros is by far the most sustainable option, using rail freight. A lot of rail freight use electrical power instead of obviously engines and petrol. And then, as I said, it's quite surprising still, but you can actually rail goods all the way from China to Europe and the UK, which is a great opportunity, really. What are the disadvantages? The way I always describe cost in freight is time pushes cost up. So the quicker the delivery, the more expensive the freight gets. So compared to ocean freight, the rates tend to be a little bit more expensive, of course, but the delivery times you're looking at around probably into Poland, you're looking at around a 2-week sort of door-to-door solution, between 15 to 20 days, I'd say, to Poland. As I said before, though, as the same as importing into Gdansk port, it's the same thing about the import VAT. If you're not set up for Article 33A, then the import reclaim option that Jacob has already mentioned becomes quite complicated route. And there is a little bit of a question on the safety side of things as well, right? You, as a producer and as a manufacturer and as a business that orders these products from China, you want the products to get to the final destination nice and safe, perfectly in the pallet, ready to be stacked in one fulfillment by Allegro. So there has been some stories about the rail freight going a little bit wrong, especially if going through what is currently a war zone between Russia and Ukraine as well. So it's very important to consider all these factors, but we've seen it as a highly effective option. For me, those are the three main options that I use. Of course, there are others as well. Air freight still being an option. As I said, air freight tends to be a little bit quicker, but also the most expensive option. There is no right way or wrong way, but I just wanted to come up and say what I believe are the most effective and cost-effective ways of fulfilling your goods to Allegro, which are plenty, basically.
Yeah, I guess a good thing to kind of note there, and for anyone listening, it's like the suggestions that the Piero has provided obviously can be depending on your individual situation. Like I've spoken to many sellers before, and like product sizes matter. So like air freight, if you've got big bulky products, low like sales value, you're probably not going to use air freight because it's going to eat into your margins too much. Like there's all those individual situations, but there's lots of options out there to get your products into the EU, get the products to one fulfillment by Allegro. You might already have stock in the EU already because you're selling via other marketplaces and you're looking to launch on Allegro. So you'll be able to supply directly through that stock as well. So this is just kind of going into the options for directly importing, but there is other options out there. But no, thank you very much, Piero. Again, for anyone listening, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm going to run through a quick presentation about requirements for tax reasons, and then after that we'll go to questions. I'll invite Shaq, Michael, and Piero to answer any of the questions that we have. So cool. I'm just going to kind of touch really briefly on VAT requirements when selling on Allegro. So my name is Jacob. I've been at AVASK for the past 5 years. Currently head of business development and commercial services. I've been supporting sellers, merchants from all over the world, expand to different marketplaces, and get set up for the different regulatory compliances. I know it doesn't sound the most exciting, but what I really love doing is enabling people to sell in different marketplaces, and essentially they can focus their business and grow revenue in areas that they weren't aware of, which is actually really, really exciting. Although it's tax, etc., we enable people to sell into new markets, and we've seen lots and lots of success with sellers that we're working with. We've seen lots of success with sellers launching on Allegro, and for a lot of people who are already selling in the EU or haven't started yet, it's a great option, and in a lot of cases a natural next step. So we're going to quickly go through VAT registration and reporting, OSS registration and reporting, and the integrations that we have. So in terms of VAT registrations, it's going to depend kind of your setup, how you decide to actually fulfill. If you start selling on Allegro, you're using one fulfillment, which is kind of the ideal option, really, because you kind of benefit from everything that Michael was talking about. But you'll need the VAT number in Poland, again, as Michael said, because you're going to store your goods in Poland. If you're fulfilling via your own warehouse or you have a 3PL, then kind of things will slightly differ. It depends where that 3PL is located. I know I've spoken to lots of customers who, they've got a D2C model. They might have their own web shop, and then they look to, set up on another platform, i.e. Allegro, that want to continue using the distribution network, and they might not want to use a fulfillment house. So if that's you, then you just need to make sure you've got the relevant registrations wherever you decide to store your goods. In terms of VAT reporting, if you launch on the platform for AVASK, if we're dealing with your VAT returns and submitting your VAT returns, then we'll need all of the sales data from the platform in order to calculate and input it into your calculations on a monthly basis. And then any VAT paperwork as well. So obviously Piero touched on importing any import paperwork, whether that's through the Netherlands, which one important thing to note on the Netherlands option that Piero mentioned is when you use KATA Global Logistics and the way they are importing, if, for example, you're delivering to one fulfillment, you won't actually need the Dutch VAT number, because there's a certain process in the Netherlands where you're able to import and have it delivered to another country without requiring a VAT number. There's a certain process to that. It needs to be, the paperwork needs to align. You need to follow a certain process, which the team over at KATA do. In terms of OSS, so OSS is the one-stop shop. It's introduced July 2021, and it's essentially used for all reporting of B2C cross-border sales within the European Union. So that's within the 27 member states. Now, if you're a non-EU based company and you're only selling on online marketplaces, so online marketplaces, i.e. Allegro, Amazon might be another one, and you won't actually require the one-stop shop, because it's the marketplace's responsibility to deal with the cross-border transaction. You still need the VAT number for wherever you decide to store the goods, but you wouldn't actually need to register for one-stop shop. If you had your own website and there was no marketplace involvement on the side, so maybe you're doing multi-marketplace, Allegro is one of them, and you've got other marketplaces and you've also got your own web shop, then you'll require OSS if you're then fulfilling that from the EU. For an EU incorporated company, you will need to register for OSS and report in the country of incorporation once you've breached the cross-border threshold. But that threshold is a mini business threshold. It's 10,000 euros. I expect the majority of people, listening here, if they're selling in the EU, if they're selling cross-border, then they're probably doing over 10,000 euros. And then just really lastly to touch on kind of what the current state of play is with AVASK, Allegro integration. So we've launched our integration directly with the Polish tax office, which allows us to directly report into the Polish tax authority. And we've also got a scheduled integration with Allegro. So I mentioned in one of the previous slides that we require all the sales data. So current state of play is we need to get that data from you. So you would need to provide that to us on a monthly basis. But the future state of play, so scheduled for Q2, would have an integration with Allegro to get the automated data. So there wouldn't be that manual input from you. So the future is looking very bright, and it's kind of good timing with this webinar and this opportunity for you as a seller, as that automation will be there. So yeah, as I said, my part is very short. You know, we don't want to talk about tax. We don't want to talk about compliance for too long. So I'm going to invite the rest of the team coming back, and we'll go through some of the questions. And again, if anyone has any questions they haven't yet raised, please feel free to do so. So give me 1 second. I will go through some of the questions. Quickly, whilst I'm loading my Shaq, you mentioned, and just so I can fully understand for myself as well. So particular bank accounts you can't use on the Allegro platform at the moment. Is that a kind of long term? Would that change as time goes on, or is that kind of...
To be honest, I don't have an answer for that at the moment. This is something that I'd have to ask our Allegro Pay team about as to what the status is.
Okay.
You know, the other area would be to see what the PSPs are that are available, or the options to pay out in. So for example, for the Asia Pacific region, we also can do payouts to Lian and Ping Pong, right?
Yeah.
So, and Payoneer. So, you know, it doesn't work for Europe necessarily with all those, but you need to look into that in the terms and conditions to see if that's available to you. But for now, any bank account that is a bank that is attached to your company should work. Unfortunately, I can't answer about, you know, TransferWise or Revolut at the moment, because I haven't had any experience thus far with anyone using them. But you know,
okay, cool. So thanks for that. So we've got a message here from Julian. So selling in the Czech Republic would be through the allegro.cz or mall.cz website?
It would be through the allegro.cz website. The way it would work is, once you register with the Allegro PL, either through your integration or through, if you're manually listing your products, you can choose to export or sell to the other marketplaces. Just select which ones you want to sell into those markets, and it'll automatically list it on the Allegro CZ platform. Mall CZ is kept as a separate platform to Allegro.
Cool. Thank you very much. So next one from Christos. Thanks, Christos, for the question. Monthly fee for selling on the Allegro platform.
I think this is more about the monthly fee for storage.
Potentially.
If I recall correctly. Michal?
Yeah, I think you're right. The timings would say it would be for about the storage, 425. So that was during Michael's presentation.
Yeah, so you don't have to pay for the first 30 days in our warehouse. So after this period, you need to consider the extra cost. So the cost is 1.69 zloty per day per cubic meters.
So 1.69 divided by about, I think, 4.35, 4.5 will give you what the value is in pounds. So let's round it up to about 30 pence.
Yeah.
Quick maths. Yeah, love it. Cool. Thank you very much. Next one from Nihar. Do you offer multi-channel fulfillment if we are selling on other marketplaces? Good question.
At the moment, we do not. We just support our own marketplaces.
Okay. And is there any information about the future, or that's just kind of current state of play?
We consider it in the future, but
okay,
I cannot say more now.
I think one thing to note here is, because we're expanding internationally into other markets, the focus has to be on that and supporting that network first. And then once that's done, then focus on other options.
Fantastic. So from Ben, to confirm, can UK companies register? I mean, I know they can. I've got some clients who have registered on the Allegro platform, so we're all good there, Ben.
Exactly.
Cool. Just looking to see. I'm going down, just finding questions that we haven't answered already. All right, here we are. Who do we contact? Again from Christos. Who do we contact to make an account already selling on Cdiscount, Cdon, and Amazon Pan-European FBA?
So in general, you could reach out to myself or Michal. If you're going to be using our fulfillment service, then Michal would be your best point of contact. Other than that, we put up some QR codes so you could actually just use those and start your registration process through that. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. From LinkedIn user, are you able to serve clients in non-EU countries, e.g. Switzerland?
Yeah, yes, we can. And I know who this LinkedIn user is. So.
Well, hi, LinkedIn user. Just a like follow-on question from that. Is there any countries you can't?
Generally speaking, we have sellers from pretty much everywhere. I think it just comes down to whether or not the current PSPs, so PayU and P24, will accept documentations from those countries. We'd have to do a double check in terms of the list of banned countries. So as you know, this has been discussed recently on the call. For example, Russia is one country where we would not be currently having registrations from.
Makes sense. Great. Do you pay in euros or PLN?
So at present, all payouts are done in PLN. As to when that will change, again, this is something that's being worked on. So, you know, it's still early days.
Perfect. Right, let's have a look at this one. So from Jonathan, we've been selling on Allegro for 4 years and it was going well. And then we had an account issue and over the last year, sales have dropped. Is there someone we can talk to get our account and sales back to where it was before?
Jonathan, if you've been selling on Allegro for the last 4 years, did you not have a key account manager that you were in touch with? If you did, then I would suggest reaching out to them. If not, as you can always reach out to Michał and I as well. That's not a problem. I recognize the company, Parnell's. I'm sure I've had a call with somebody from Parnell's in the past.
Brilliant. Well, I think you had your QR code and information. Jonathan, if you reach out to any of us, we can make sure you're introduced to the right people to hopefully get you back to where you were. Perfect. Right. Here's another one from Andres. If we're a UK incorporated company, how does sales VAT work? Does Allegro collect and remit for us? So as a UK incorporated company, Allegro would be responsible for collecting VAT and remitting VAT. You as the seller would still be responsible for having the VAT number for where you're storing the product. So I'd take the assumption you're going to use One Fulfillment because it's a great option. So you'd need the VAT number in Poland. We can register that for you. We can submit the VAT report. So when you think about marketplaces collecting and remitting, it doesn't mean that you don't have to do anything as a seller. We still have to report to the different tax offices. And the way to look at it is like zero rated domestic supplies to the tax office. So we're still reporting this person's made X amount of sales in this month through the monthly VAT reporting. So that still needs to be done. But yeah, so you, as a marketplace, they will be responsible for collecting and remitting the VAT from your sales. Right, I think we've got time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions.
Sure.
We've got.
I'm just going to pull up the presentation again so that they can see the QR code. So just give me a sec.
Brilliant. So Ben had a question. Is there an account manager anyone can offer for seasoned sellers that have issues on boarding?
Reach out to me and I will see what we can do. Because I know, Ben, you mentioned as well that you were using Revolut, right? Or no, TransferWise. And I think that's one of the issues. So if you change to using a normal bank account, there shouldn't be an issue with the onboarding part of it. But by all means, reach out to us and then we can see where to go from there.
Cool.
Because we do have a system in place as well for what we call priority onboarding. So if you meet certain criteria, we can put you down that path too. Perfect.
Thanks. I think that does us for questions. I hope everyone found the presentations really useful. I'm indeed very excited about the opportunity that sellers can have for selling in Allegro. I think, you know, it's definitely, if you're already selling in Europe or if you're looking to sell in Europe, it's definitely a great market, and we see lots of success from our existing customers, which is brilliant. We'll leave the QR codes up there for a minute or so. Thanks, Piero. Thank you, Shaq. Thank you, Michael. Really insightful. Everyone can see on the bottom, you've got our email addresses. So you've got mine, you've got Piero's, you've got Shaq's, and you've got Michael. So feel free to reach out to us directly, or you can access the QR codes. So I'm going to give it another 10 seconds or so, and then we're going to end the recording. But thank you, guys, and thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, team.